Hi everyone, hello. My name is Youhana Nassif and I'm the founder and director of Animatics Animation Film Festival from Cairo, Egypt. I'm very happy and proud to be with you today in ITFS, and I'm very excited to tell you about the animation industry in Egypt, its history and pioneers, how it came to be, and also the current animation scene now in Egypt with the major studios, freelancers, and movies being produced as well, and also to let you know about Animatics Festival, what we're trying to do for the animation industry in Egypt, what we did last year, and what we're aiming to do this year, and the opportunities and challenges facing the animation industry in Egypt. So thank you for having me, and let's explore a little bit of history now. So, this photograph has the family that originally started the animation industry in Egypt. You can see in this picture Betzel Frankel, a Jewish from Russia originally, his wife Genza, and the three sons David, Herschel, and Shlomo. In 1905, Betzel Frankel was a photographer, and he migrated from Russia because of the riots and settled in first in Jaffa, Palestine, and then he moved to Alexandria with his family and opened a bookstore there. At that time, in the 1920s, the early 1920s, Walt Disney started to produce and experiment with animated movies, and he introduced the character Mickey Mouse and Felix the cat to the general public. And Frankel was very much in awe with this character and this form of art, and he passed his love to his three sons as well. So in the 1930s, the three sons, the Frankel brothers, moved to Cairo because it was the center of the cinema and filmmaking industry. And to fulfill the passion of animated movies, they opened their own studio, which was called the Frankel Animated Cartoons, and they started to experiment with animated movies and characters. So they created a character that is very much similar like Mickey Mouse, but with an Egyptian flavor. This character was called Mishmish Effendi. Mishmish in Egyptian means apricot. So this character was gracefully humor, eccentric, and also it was a real person, not a rat, not an animal, a real person who had genuine Egyptian appearance, and it appeared in his dark suit and tarbouch and everything else. So after that, after they created Mishmish Effendi, the Frankels started to produce some movies, but they needed financial support, and they went to a producer to pitch their idea of an animated movie to him, and he responded to them by saying "Bukra fil mishmish," which is an Egyptian saying that implies that is impossible. That is when the apricot season comes, it's impossible to happen. So after that, they decided that they will self-finance their movie and produce it themselves. Throughout their careers, the Frankels produced around 30 animated movies for entertainment and also for the government, and most of them starred Mishmish Effendi as the main character. And the first of these movies was called Nafish Faida, which translates to nothing to do, and it premiered in Cairo and Alexandria for 4 consecutive weeks in the cinema. And it was very inspirational to the Egyptians. Everyone was amazed by this new art form, and the government started to commission movies to the Frankels to produce patriotic movies and propaganda movies, and also for entertainment purposes. In the 1950s, a period of inactiveness in the animation industry um, was happening because the Frankels, because of the current situation in Egypt, they moved to France and stopped producing animated movies in Egypt. And they also, their films were met with little popularity and little success in France, so they stopped producing animated movies at all. Uh, Around the beginning of 1960s, there were also two characters, two brothers, who rose to meet the needs of the animation industry in Egypt and became two prominent animators themselves. Their name was brothers Mohib, Ali and Hossein Mohib. Throughout the 1960s, the Mohib brothers created many animated movies, short movies, depending entirely on their personal budgets, and the government also commissioned them to establish an animation studio in the main and official broadcasting agency in Egypt that belonged to the government. And they also helped establish the first academic department in the Faculty of Fine Arts for animation. It started first as a couple of courses related to animation, and it was very interesting and very exciting for the students because it was something new, totally different. And then this small department or small course grew across the years to become a whole department in the university for animation. The Mohib brothers continued to work in the official government broadcasting agency and also academically in the university, and they continued to produce many movies. Many of them were advertisements, many of them were short movies with prominent artists. Many of them incorporated live action scenes as well. Around the 1980s, another period of inactiveness for the animation industry was beginning because of the advancements in the cinema and filmmaking industries that made the advertisements shift towards more live action advertisements, not animated advertisements. One of the people who graduated from the animation department in the university was Mona Abu Nassif, who established Cairo Cartoons, which was the first CGI studio in Egypt in the late 1990s. And she started to produce and work on a famous Egyptian cartoon called Bakkar. Bakkar is based on a Nubian boy, character of a Nubian boy, and it aired during the holy month of Ramadan, which is the peak visibility in Egypt, and it continued to air for around 10 years. Everyone of the family was watching it. People related very much to the character. It had a very, very authentic feel and look to it. So it was one of the best animations that happened and were created in Egypt over the past decades. Unfortunately, the last episode of Bakkar, this famous Egyptian cartoon, aired in 2007 and stopped after that because of production problems. And this period also witnessed another period of inactiveness for the animation industry in Egypt, and it wasn't until after 2010, after the revolution, that the Egyptian youth and emerging artists started to take things into their own hands, just like everything else, and the creative and media industries were beginning to flourish again. Mainly because of the availability of a lot of learning material and video tutorials online, which were easily accessible for everyone, and also because of the huge exposure that the Egyptian artists and animators had, both on the local and international fellow artists through online channels just like Instagram, ArtStation, or Facebook. That had a profound impact on the animation industry in Egypt and was very instrumental in equipping these emerging Egyptian youth with the knowledge they needed to progress in their careers, to carry the industry of animation forward, and to establish many animation studios in Egypt during that period. I'd like to show you some examples of the major studios, animation studios operating currently in Egypt. also want to show you some of the freelancers and independent artists working here in Egypt. Many of them collaborate with local studios, and also many of them collaborate with international studios as well. I also want to show you some of the Egyptian animated feature films that were produced during the last year and are also being produced and to be released soon, as well as some of the short films that were produced during the last year as well.
نبوءة. انظر واسمع، إنه الفارس.
ما زلت صغيرا يا بني.
وهل تنتظر النساء والأطفال حتى نبني الأسطول؟
احنا ما حدش يقدر يقلعنا.
هل تحبها يا بني؟
ترى هل ما زال يذكرني؟
على بلدي المحبوب
إلى متى أظل حبيسة هذه الجدران؟
بختيتو.
ما تقوليش يا بختيتو، انا ما بحبش حد يدلعني، انا راجل.
صدقت نبوءتك يا كبير الكهنة.
إذا فقد دخلنا المعركة الخطأ يا شباب.
لا شروط ولا سلام. قتلتماه إذن.
جوزناه يا مولانا، جوزناه.
ايوه يا جيحة.
طبعا. طب بقولك يا جيحة،
خلاويص.
خلاويص يا ستي.
احكي لي حدوته كمان.
كان يا ما كان في حكواتي في جيبه يمتلك الخيال، بس بيحكي الحقيقة. ما هو الحكواتي الشاطر لازم يبقى عنده طريقة يوري الناس حكايته ما يقولهاش. اسعى اسعى اسعى.
خلاويص.
لسه الدور عليك انت اللي هتكملي الحدوته. احكي يا ليلى حكاية الليلة الكبيرة.
In the heart of the old world, an ancient scroll kept for centuries puts our heroes in great danger as they seek to fulfill the long-awaited prophecy, fighting together in a fierce battle to save us all.
We're surrounded. There's no way out.
Behold, gentlemen, open sesame. Oops. Close sesame! Close sesame! Close! Okay, I'm ready. Come, little one.
Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit more about Animatics. So what exactly is Animatics? Animatics is an animation film festival and an online platform with the focus of bringing all the animation industry in Egypt together. We aim to be the go-to platform for everything related to animation in Egypt, a meeting point between professionals and amateurs, between the local and international artists, and a space to showcase all the amazing constituents of the animation industry, and a place that can facilitate networking and collaboration between these different constituents, and in time to drive the animation industry in Egypt to international levels. Animatics was founded in 2020, and the first edition of the festival was held between 11 and 14 November 2020. The first edition of the festival had four major components. The first of these were the competitions. We had three competitions for choosing the best animated independent short movie, the best animated graduation movie, and the best animated commission movie from Egypt and the MENA region as well. And we also had a challenge where teams participated to create a 30-second animation sequence in only 3 days just before the festival. Another component of the festival was the screenings, where we had 4 international feature films screened in cinemas in Egypt, and around 50 or 60 short films from different parts of the world, from France, Italy, UK, Austria, and many other countries, screened as well during the festival days. The third component of the festival was the workshops. We had 6 specialized professional workshops for animation artists in Egypt in different topics such as storyboarding and directing, sound design, coloring, animation principles, character design, and many more topics. And the last component of the festival was the talks and panel discussions, where we had more than 23 topics discussed from 40 or 50 speakers participating in the talks and discussions on various topics such as how to make your portfolio, how to present your work, understanding the animation pipeline, lighting and shading masterclass, and many other different topics for many types of audiences, for the students and for the professionals as well, for the general audience who are very new to the animation also. I'd like to show you 2 movies from the festival. The first one, which has won the best animated graduation movie, and the other one which has won the 30-second animation sequence challenge in the festival as well. animation industry in Egypt is facing some challenges currently. One of them is because we don't have that many art institutions in Egypt offering a degree in animation. And for the couple of universities that do, it's not usually enough for the students, and they have to work a lot more on their own. Second thing is because the general Egyptian audience is not used to animation as a unique art form, and it's usually regarded as a children entertainment thing. And also we don't have exposure on animation coming from different parts of the world. We only watch in the cinemas American animations coming from Walt Disney Studios. And the third thing, and the most important one, is that production and investment in animation in Egypt is very nominal because channels and producers consider it a little bit risky. So that's why we started Animatics in the first place. Because as much as these challenges are real and solid, there is a huge potential in the animation industry in Egypt, and a lot of high quality creativity and artistry as well. And to address these challenges, we're trying to always offer knowledge sharing opportunities like the workshops that I talked about, talks and master classes conducted by local and international artists in the festival. And we're also trying to build a database of all the animation professionals working here in Egypt that could help facilitate networking and production between these artists and each other, and also between artists from Egypt and international producers as well. And as a representative of Egypt's industry, we're always trying to look for ways to showcase its diversity and potential in international animation festivals, such as our partnerships with Stuttgart, Annecy, Kaboom, AnimaFest Zagreb, and many other festivals, while also benefiting from their huge experience to benefit the community and industry in Egypt. The second edition of festival is planned to be from 10 to 18 September 2021, and we're aiming to have a lot of new features than last year, such as master classes, keynotes from international guest artists, portfolio reviews, and the big market as well. So we hope to see you there, here I mean, in Egypt, and we'll be happy, very happy to welcome you all in Egypt in the second edition of Animatics Festival in September. So thank you for having me today, and it was really nice being with you today in ITFS. Thank you.